is up, Goat World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you with another Goat Format video. As I've mentioned before, I really want to play this game live and in person. With me, I have a new player that you may not know, a name that you may not recognize, who just so happened to do that very thing, as he won the latest Grand Prix in Cincinnati, Ohio. I have with me today Mr. DeBugg coming in. Please, Mr. DeBugg, introduce yourself as the newest winner of the second Grand Prix. Mr. DeBugg, the newest world's qualified Yu-Gi-Oh player, winning the Grand Prix in Cincinnati, Ohio. Please introduce yourself.
My name's Austin Bugg, or Debug, or Bugs, whatever you prefer. So I played Goat format when it was just Yu-Gi-Oh, but obviously could not afford the cards to play Goat controller or anything like that. I was just a very card poor child at the time, and then wanted to play Goat format for a really long time. Wasn't until 2021 that I actually started playing Goat format. Locally, there's a shop that was running events, so I played in those for a while and performed pretty well at them. And then at the place where the GP was held, there was an event back in January, and I played Panda Burn there also and top forward. There's a video of me getting smashed if you're interested in seeing that.
I might be.
I mean, it was 2 Panda Burn though, so like, are there really any real winners? And then played in this event and happened to do well.
So you said you've been playing since 2021, so you haven't been playing for a very long time. For you at home, I'll probably link the stream to this because I was able to provide some commentary for the finals table, and I am an avid Burn unenthusiast. I do not enjoy Burn, and I had some pretty harsh things to say about DeBugg. So no disrespect, of course, but in your analysis when you were coming into the thing and you were trying to say, okay, what deck I'm going to play, what made you land on Burn as an alternative to other things that you could potentially have played?
I've played Chaos and Warrior before, but I'm just like not confident at all in my ability to beat better players with those decks. I think the Chaos Mirror is really intricate, and the Chaos Warrior matchup I've struggled with from the Chaos side, and I can play Burn, so I went with that. A few tech cards in the list here and there, but it's pretty standard, I think. Okay. At least the main deck is.
And we were talking before we started this interview. You told me that you never play on Dueling Book, you never play on the ladder. So how did you get your training matches in? Because a lot of these top level players, they're going to hear this and they're going to scream blasphemy from the rooftops. Like, how is this guy topping events and winning events and he's not putting in the mandatory work needed? So what like meta game prep did you do before going into this event?
I follow the scene pretty closely, so I stay up on like deck list and things like that, but I haven't really been able to play a ton in the past couple months. The locals that we had stopped firing, so just haven't been able to play much, unfortunately. Okay. And then the Dueling Book thing, it was just a little intimidating, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. DeBugg, if you stick by, man, I can walk you through that because you're now worlds qualified, so you're going to have to get on Dueling Book to attempt to win the title. But hey,
that I will.
But while we're talking about it, I will go ahead and let's go and throw your deck list up right here. All right, so here is the deck that Mr. Bugg decided to take to this event. Again, Burn. Everyone knows I hate Burn, but no big deal. He is the champion, and Burn again performed extremely well in the last Worlds event, and it has continued to do well in several events thereafter. So I'll let Mr. Bugg go ahead and talk about his deck and why he picked this deck and some of the matchups he had with this deck.
I think the main deck is fairly standard. The flex slots, I would say, from like the standard list are the main deck Kinetic Soldier, Gravity Binds, Desert Sunlight, and on occasion you might see fewer Trunades. I decided to also not play Tribe Infecting Virus main. The reason for that was I wanted a really streamlined game plan in game 1, and Tribe can be a little bit clunky. If it doesn't get in for poke damage, it's kind of awkward sometimes, but in post-board games, it's really nice to be able to discard excess Ojama trios or burn spells if your opponent doesn't have a ton of monsters in play. The main deck Kinetic was a nod to Warriors. I think it's the deck's worst matchup out of the popular decks.
Mm.
And then I just decided to tech a singleton Desert Sunlight because when a jar goes off, you basically win the game on the spot. As you saw in the finals, I was able to combo Morphing Jar with Desert Sunlight
That was pretty
to
nice.
great effects. Yep. As far as the side goes, it's not a, I wouldn't say it's perfectly optimal by any means. Soldiers are for warriors. You can go up to the second and third copy. Mentioned Tribe already. Playing a Singleton Kaiku just as a little bit of chaos tech, but you can bring it in against warriors too. It trades or eats a lot of their guys.
Mm.
Mobius is a nod to the mirror. True Nade and MST are for decrees. Nox are for chaos. Threatening Roar you can bring it in the mirror, but it's primarily there for Reasoning Gate. And then the two trinity of traps that I'm not playing main are in the board as well. And then the fusion deck is mostly irrelevant, but
Right.
in a paper event, you should definitely bring it because not bringing it says I'm not playing meta or Cyberstein.
Oh, that's smart. I mean, a lot of times people forget that because majority, I would say majority of the competitive scene is still in the dueling book universe. I
For
think
sure.
there's a big push to kind of switch that back to get into more paper stuff, but a lot of stuff, a lot of times people might not think about that and just kind of load, just send up no fusion deck, and that gives away so much information before you even sit down with your opponent. But I do like the deck, like I said. What would you think some of the weaker cards were? Because I know Des Koala's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit.
I would definitely cut this the kinetic soldier from the main because I played one warrior matchup the entire day out of 9 matches. It was on camera, so if you want to see me lose, you can watch me lose to AJT BLS
Oh, shout out to
on
AJT
camera.
BLS.
I did beat Trinity Opener in game 1 into Dust Shoot, so that was pretty sweet. But lost games 2 and 3. I would say that was my only underperformer in the main, to be honest. Um, I could see Sunlight being like bad moving forward, but I happened to draw it with a jar a bunch, so it was really really good for me. Um, Side deck wise, I would like to test Nightmare Wheels. I just
Okay.
haven't been able to play in paper and I don't play Dueling Book, so I haven't been able to test them. I've heard from Pui, who is one of the foremost authorities on Burn, that they're really good in the warrior matchup if they're not playing Mobius. So would like to test those.
Yeah, big huge shout out to Pui. She is the burn queen, officially or unofficially, however you want to call that. So
Yep.
if it's burn, she's definitely going to be involved in that whole situation.
Also, I know that Pui is not the biggest fan of Gravity Bind, but the stall cards were fantastic for me. Won me a ton of games, so I definitely like the full 5.
Okay. Okay.
Matchup wise, round 1 I played against Chaos Turbo. My opponent Pot of Greeted 3 times in game 1 of a Magician of Faith, but I just stuck stall cards and they weren't able to put any pressure on me, so I was able to draw the burn cards and win. And as far as trends of opposing decks are going, the cutting of Sakuretsu armors from main decks and moving to Phoenix Wing Windblast over Raigeki Break definitely hurts in this matchup in particular, because if you're not pushing for gain completely, Wing Blasting stall card still leaves you in the same place that you were the turn before.
Right.
Sakuretsus are pretty important for dealing with Panda, so they really only have a couple of answers to Panda.
Because a lot of people are saying like, hey, this burn deck is just a flash in the pan. They weren't prepared for it. No one's ever prepared for it. That's why it performed so well. But then here we are, months and months later, and it still is performing. And no one really, because the meta is like constantly revolving, not revolving, but the answer really hasn't been defined. So I think this deck is always going to have a spot in this meta as long as the tier 1 decks aren't specifically designed to destroy it.
Yeah, the deck definitely has struggles with sideboard cards, but game 1 the deck is very very good, and as chaos decks continue to inbreed to beat each other, it
Right.
opens up weaknesses in other matchups.
Absolutely.
Like Raigeki Break's definitely better against warriors and definitely better against burn if you're not ahead already. Wing Blast is way better if you're ahead because you're spinning back something, forcing them to draw it. Round 2, I played against Chaos again, won 2-0 in that match as well. Round 3, I took my first loss to Chaos Turbo. was the only Chaos match I lost on the day. Remember losing a tight game 1, and then in game 2, my opponent Mobius 2 of my back rows with a Chaos Sorkin play, but then attacked into a Cyber Jar. So I was able to blow up both of his monsters, and then he hit a blind snipe on one of my burn spells, and I was unable to win game 2 and lost the match. Round 4 was on camera against AJT BLS. As I mentioned earlier, beat Trinity into Dust Shoot game 1. Game 2, lost to a Ring of Destruction because I searched out a panda off of a rat. I probably should have got something else because I had lethal burn in hand, and it ended up killing me. So I sort of punted game 2, and then in game 3, just lost the attrition war really. Round 5, I played against Chaos Turbo again. Game 1, I think I had a Cyber Jar go off. So again, broken record, won that game. And then game 2, just burned them out. Round 6, I played against Reasoning Gate. So I was super happy that I had the Threatening Roars. I was thinking about cutting some of them for more Chaos hate. But I was glad I didn't. It ended up not mattering. I ended up not like resolving a Threatening Roar, but I definitely drew them in game 3, and they were a nice safety net to fall back on.
Okay.
Then in Top Cut, I snuck in at 8th. Played
wow.
Chris Pateo.
Oh, he's a legendary player. He's another great legendary player. You know, so there was some high level players in this event, I think.
For sure. I don't think there were too many questionable plays made by my opponents, except in the finals with the Metamorphosis on Thunder Dragon into Reaper on the Nightmare. I think that was the only like truly egregious error my opponents made. Not to speak disparagingly. Yeah. Played Pateo. Upstarts definitely won me game 1. My opponent's playing Upstart won me game 1. I was at 10,000 life, and after a BLS double hit over a panda and 2 spy attacks, I was at like 26, and I top decked a giant rat that I was able to run into his BLS, take 16, live at 800, get a panda, and run over a spy to kill him.
I don't know.
That was lucky.
Yeah.
Definitely top decked my way out of that one.
I don't know.
That was probably the luckiest I was in the event.
Yeah, if you go back and watch Dale Bolito, legendary duelist, man, he said upstarts, get him out of there because they just help you lose games a lot of times. They're great cards, but I don't know. He might be onto something. That'd probably save you.
Yeah. I definitely would have died had Pateo not played 2 upstarts. In game 2, this is another match on camera, so you can go back and watch it. We traded resources back and forth, and I ended up setting a Morphing Jar, and he had the Mystic Swordsman level 2, so he's setting into a small warrior package. So he was able to run over my Morphing Jar, and I was kind of out of the game from there. And in the 3rd game, I was able to push for some damage with an early panda. Ojama Trio sort of lock him, and then push for damage with a bigger panda, and then I was able to burn him out when he summoned a Chaos Sork with a torrential into some burn spells to kill the tokens. In the semifinals, I played against Chaos Control, and in game 1, the semis and the finals are where I drew the best all day without a doubt, which is right when you want to, obviously.
Yeah.
Just got a really burn heavy hand in game 1, and then was able to finish him with like my last 2 cards being a panda and a giant Trunade that I top decked. So I was able to Trunade and summon panda and poke for the last bit of damage. And then in the 2nd game, I had a really aggressive burn draw where I had a koala go off for 2k, I think, and then burned for like 5,500 or something, and then just summoned a panda and killed him there. And then the finals were on camera, and I played a total of 5 turns in 2 games, so that says how well I drew there. Game 1, panda plus Morphing Jar and Desert Sunlight, and then my opponent made a mistake with their Metamorphosis, and I was able to summon another panda after they ringed my first one and run over the Reaper for lethal. And then in the 2nd game, opponent played Dekoichi Pass, set Dekoichi Pass, and I was able to summon Breaker, knock it, poke for 19, set 3. Opponent just played another face down and passed, and then played Pot of Greed, I think, and then flipped Ojama Trio, and then double barrel for 4k and summoned Panda and attacked as 28 over a token for a total of 21 for exact exact lethal.
And then you won, and then you're the champ.
Yeah.
Man. That's pretty cool, man. I really enjoy it. Are you gonna play? And they're coming back to. I think the Grand Prix is going to come back to Ohio again. Are you gonna go back up there and play again?
I might. Cincinnati's like 2 hours from me. I think I looked it up, and the other one is in, I want to say, Avon, Ohio, which is like 5.5 hours, which is a lot further of a drive. If I have some friends that want to go, perhaps, but I don't think I'd make a 5.5 hour solo trip.
Okay.
Although some people, AJT and Chris Pateo drove down from Canada, and Carl Waite and his crew drove 9.5 hours from New York for this. So
it will, dude. It's a major event. People really enjoy it, and I know I'd make the drive if I could. If it was close enough to my area, I would love to come to a real life goat format event and play some paper goats in person, man. So I'm definitely jealous and envious of you guys for being able to do that, man. But now you are a world's qualified person. You have to you got to get on Dueling Book now. You got to figure it out. Go link up with Prix, find some mentorship, find a Yugioh dueling team, get on a team, and see if you can sharpen those skills, and maybe you can make a world's run and be a world's champion. You never know. Anything can happen.
We shall see.
Anything can happen. But real quick, can you just talk about the prizing? What did you end up taking home? Like, what'd you win?
Oh, sure.
Aside from the coveted world's qualification invitation, what else did you get to take home?
So I took cash, but the first place prize was a champion pack. I don't remember which one. A champion pack Spirit Reaper. So that was pretty sweet. Second place was like an LP first PSV Jinzo. So like definitely a really good second place consolation prize. And 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th got an ulti Pot of Greed.
Okay.
I don't remember what the other 3rd, 4th card was. So super good prizing. And the event was ran really smooth. The only thing I would say is that people play really slowly. We went to time every round.
They're playing the game within the game. You're trying to stall your guy out and play the time rules. Online doesn't have that, so that's one less thing you gotta worry about when you're playing online. But hey, man, DeBugg. Do you have anybody you want to shout out or anything else you want to say while you're on the program, man? I'm so glad you got to drop by and come to JDZ Plays Goats. Remember, for you at home, if you're watching this video and you have a lot of people that play goats in high numbers in your area, make sure you reach out to the goatformat.com website and get into the Discord, and you could potentially have a Grand Prix event in your local area. I'm still working on one. I can't find people that want to do it, in my area, but DeBugg was just so happened to be lucky enough to participate and skilled enough to go ahead and take that thing down. So anything else you want to say before we cut off, man?
I guess shouts out to the people that rode up with me, James and Taylor, and then to Jim, who also top 8'd the event. He met us there, but he's part of the group. He ended up losing in the quarters, but shout out to them. And then I guess shout out to my LGS's Legendary Games and Card Trooper.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, DeBugg, for coming by.
Yeah,
man.
anytime.
And of course, maybe we can get you back on here once you take down another event. The GFC 17 is happening on the 23rd. I fully expect you to participate, and all of you at home should do the same thing as well. Huge cash prizes, $1,000 cash pot on that one, free entry. So I would definitely encourage you to do that.
There's a TCG con in Louisville, and I think they're supposed to have goat events of some sort.
Okay, if you're there, I mean, are you going to be there?
I might stop by, but I don't think I'm committing to playing.
Oh man, you're DeBugg. I like you, man, but you're really pissing me off, man. You have the chance of playing, you're not playing. Here I am doing everything I can to get to play.
A wealth of riches, and you're just over there in a desert.
So you're just pouring out your water as I'm drowning over here, man. But hey, we'll see what we can do, and hopefully I can get something to happen. But again, thank you so much for coming by the program and telling us about your deck. Again, I hate burn. I'm glad you won, and we'll see. Hopefully you don't have to play me, man, because I don't want to get burned out.
But just bring your Mystic Blocks and your Mobius. You'll be fine.
Dope, man. You're probably right. You're probably right. No, I'm kidding. But thank you so much, DeBugg, man. Take care.
Sure.
All right. So that was DeBugg coming by. Tell me what you think about what DeBugg had to say about his deck, about his tournament experience, about the Goat Format Grand Prix. Are you going to have a Grand Prix? Would you go to a Grand Prix? How far would you travel to go to a Goat Format Grand Prix? I don't know. I ask myself that every day, but I definitely want to go to at least one this year, and I don't know. We'll see how it happens. But again, as always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the JDZ Plays Goats program. We're only going up, and we're gonna do it just like that. Until the next time, shout out to the OGs. Salute to the real ones. I've been JDZ Plays Goats, and I'm out. Peace.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.